Ted Lasso, Season 2, Episode 8. It's a big one because we are going to the semifinals. Is that the name of the football match we're playing? Yes. We're facing Manchester City. They're the ones that Jamie was with before. They kicked our ass last time. We're fighting them again. Wow, was this episode strong. I think it's almost redundant to say at this point, but they just get better and better and better. And I think this episode in particular was super strong because it just dealt with so much. And it just maintained true to what makes Ted Lasso great. So we're going to go character by character, storyline by storyline. And let's start with the two more minor storylines in this episode. That, of course, is the stuff with Jamie Tart. And that is, he has come back to this team. We've seen his storyline in the kind of like the more beginning half of the season where he's like, I did stuff to make my dad mad. I'm back on this team. We're facing them again here. My dad wants to get tickets to come see the game. And of course, Jamie hates his dad. That's pretty much what we're seeing throughout this entire episode is like he doesn't want to deal with his father. He's done. He just wants him out of his life. He doesn't want to deal with it anymore. But he can't because it's his dad, and he gets some great moments with Higgins, actually, just like, love him or hate him, he's your father. He makes him a VIP, and he needs the tickets, he can get them. It sucks either way, but that's just where we are. It's just what we're doing here. And when the game shows up and his dad does appear with his friends, he's wearing the Manchester City jerseys, not supporting his son in any regards of the word, which culminates in this beautiful storyline, which we're going to get to right now because I want to talk about the stuff with Roy Kent in this episode. He goes to talk to his niece's teacher because she has been swearing a lot in class, and it's something she can't do, and it's just kind of like, you're teaching this girl some really bad habits, and he tries to tell her, he's like, what you want to do with your life, you can't swear for. I can, I'm a footballer, that's kind of comes with the job, but if you want to be successful being a veterinarian for wild animals, which he does a great bit where it's like, how would you even get paid for that? It's funny. You can't swear. And he just tries to it's a really nice moment. Again, Brett Goldstein does really good work here. He's just like, I think you're picking up the wrong habits from me. You're acting the way I do when I'm mad, and I don't like the way I act sometimes. That's not how you should act. And his niece just gets like, no, I just do it because they're dicks and they're bad people. And I like it because when he's talking to the teacher about that story and that idea, the reason that the dad doesn't really participate in the stuff with the niece is because he's kind of a prick. He's kind of a little shit, which Jamie's dad is too. So when the moment comes after the match in the semifinals, and I'll spoil it right here before we get into anything else, they lose the game against Manchester City, 5-0. They lose. Jamie's dad comes into the locker room just making fun of everybody on the team and saying that, his son is just a useless guy, demanding he gets onto the field to hang out with his buds, and Jamie says no. And then his dad tries to kind of shove him off, and Jamie just decks him in a beautiful scene, and then Beard drags him out. Everyone's waiting for Jamie to do something, and this caught me off guard. I wasn't expecting this, but then just, his niece's dad is a piece of shit. Jamie's dad is a piece of shit, so he understands what Jamie's experiencing. And then we just see Roy just walks over to Jamie and just in a huge grasp, just an intensity that is so powerful, just hugs him. And Jamie hugs him back and just breaks down into tears. And I mean, there's a lot of things you could be expecting in this show, but that moment between those two, you're not expecting it. You just think, oh, they're going to play up either the Keeley stuff, which I'm glad they haven't yet, or it's just going to be like these two are just going to hate each other in a really stupid rivalry. But it's like, I get it, man. Your dad sucks. I'm sorry for everything you have to go through because of him, and just embraces in that. And I think that's a very, very powerful statement to make in this show. An insanely powerful moment. And it's some of the best stuff that this show's done, and this show has been consistently good at almost everything it's done. And that's really impressive to say for that. Just, those two guys, Phil Dunster and Brett Goldstein there. Amazing chemistry, amazing stuff. And just when Jamie slowly breaks down, I think that solidifies the bond between those two. There's no more stupidity between them. They're invested in each other's lives. It's fantastic. Another major storyline of this episode is probably the most controversial of anything Ted Lasso has done. And that, of course, is after his dad gives him a call, Sam is like, okay, I guess the Nigerian government's backing off this oil stuff. I'm super excited. I'm super positive right now. Everything is working out well for me. I'm going to give that mysterious stranger a text. And she's like, hey, you can meet me here at this time. I hope to see you there. And she's like, I guess I'm meeting you there too. Beautiful scene where Sam asks Isaac for a haircut, and we realize, okay, you know, Isaac's that one guy who's really good at the haircuts. That scene was amazing, where the locker room just standing around watching Isaac cut his hair. Amazing, just really powerful. You could tell that's the one that I think like the team was like, we got to get this right. Just this scene, everyone just having fun with it. Apparently, the rule is that everybody gets one haircut from Isaac this season, so you have to use it for something important. And Danny's like, I'm going to use it for my funeral. Yes. Yeah, okay. Or no, did he say wedding or funeral? I'm like, yeah, you do you, dude. Awesome. It's amazing. So he's going to the restaurant, and Rebecca's going there too, and they kind of have like an awkward moment where they're talking to each other, and he texts Rebecca, and she realizes what's going on, and they have the realization who they're talking to. And again, it's gonna go one of two ways for the entire audience. You support it or you don't. Rebecca's like, I'm your boss. You're like half my age, if less than that. He's 21 years old. We specify he's 21. So wherever you are in the world, he's technically legal to drink and do drugs, I guess, and gamble. I don't know. Can't rent a car in America. But it's like, that's okay. We specified that. They decide they're going to stick for dinner and they have a good time. And Rebecca awkwardly kisses him when they walk home. And you're just like, you're divided. I get that. I think that's the entire point of this relationship. You're supposed to see it and just be like, I don't like it. Or you're supposed to be like, I love it. And I don't know which one you're supposed to feel. To me personally, it's not working. You know, after they lose the match and Sam gives like his great speech on television about trying, and the important thing is that we tried our best and we didn't give up. And you see that Rebecca's like, okay, I guess I should maybe try this because I guess I did feel something towards this guy. And they're clearly going to hook up at the end of the episode, like clearly. And I still don't know how I feel about it. And like I said, I think that's the point. We're supposed to see this, like, do we root for their love? And I understand there have been completely stable relationships in the real world that have different ages, that are very healthy and very unproblematic. But Rebecca even says, I was grooming you. I've groomed you. He's like, no, you didn't. And I guess kind of putting the power in Sam's hands in that position makes it a little better. But nonetheless, you can take all that aside. The age thing is its own bag of worms to deal with. She is still his boss, and that itself is a concerning thing to deal with. That it's hard to get that right, especially because of his age thing, that it might not work. It could be a really rewarding relationship and the world accepts it, but as the audience, we have been conditioned to think this is weird. The age thing is weird. The whole idea is weird. So are Rebecca and Sam going to hook up and maybe realize they made a mistake afterwards? And there's like, okay, we can't do that again. Or is this going to be like, no, I like this guy. I like her. Forget it that she's my boss and that she's 30 years older than me. I like this woman. I don't know if we can believe that. I don't know if as the audience we're going to accept those faults. Hopefully we can. They obviously have a lot in common, but it's an interesting thing to play with. And you just don't like it right away, which I understand, but it's a lot to deal with, isn't it? It's a whole issue that the writers and the crew made for themselves, so they have to know how they're going to address it properly. So I do believe they're going to figure out the right way to deal with this, but ending the episode of the two of them just kissing doesn't work. And it's kind of weird. We'll see what happens though. And good, it's cool. I mean, I'd want to kiss Hannah Waddingham too, so good for Sam. But that out of the way, without talking that controversy anymore, the biggest part of this episode has to be the stuff with Dr. Fieldstone and Ted. So she is talking to her own therapist about the issues that Ted is presenting about not wanting to open up, and as they're having the conversation, she's on her bike, she gets hit by a car, and the person in her contacts who they asked to come help is Ted. So Ted is kind of like helping her get back to her place because she can't be released when she has a concussion. And, you know, Ted seeing some of the memos she sent to him, and he's literally comfortable with the idea that, like, obviously you're upset with me, that's fine, but I just want to make sure you're okay. And she's kind of helping him out in that situation. And it's kind of like, you have to meet me halfway on these things so we can fully understand each other better. So when she confides to him later on before the big match, it's just like, hey, I was really scared, and I thought this was going to ruin my enjoyment of bicycling, and I'd never do it again. And it left me very vulnerable and afraid. And the fact that you were able to help me out of that situation means a lot. Regardless of everything else going on in the world, I appreciate what you did for me, Ted. And he's getting ready to, like, say something smart, but she's like, I don't need the pep talk. I don't need the help. I just want to tell you how I'm feeling. Which is about time somebody called Ted out on that, because he's the guy who wants to help everyone. That is, like, his thing. He's got something to say for everything. He needs to help everyone, but she's like, I'm fine. I just needed to tell you that. Cut to later when he's dealing with those ramifications, and, you know, it's before the match starts. He's like, I was honest with her, she was honest with me, we should talk about our feelings. And before the big game starts where they lose to Manchester City, Ted reveals to his coaches that I had panic attacks the last game when I left, and I'm dealing with it. I apologize. I just wanted to tell you, I hope it doesn't happen again. And it leads to a great revealing circle. Everyone's revealing stuff that they've said and what they're feeling. Really powerful moment, but I think the icing on the cake for making this such a great episode is the stuff towards the end with Ted after they've lost the game, and we see that Roy and Jamie are just hugging each other, and we see Jamie's dad's a dick. Ted leaves because he's about to break out into tears. He calls Sharon. We get a really great reveal. This, I've seen comments on Twitter that this is going to be what wins Jason the Emmy again. I'm not going to be surprised, because I think it's hard to play vulnerable in such a honest way, where he's just like, my father killed himself when I was 16. That's something he did to me and my mom, and it's probably one of the reasons I'm the way that I am. And she's like, no, Ted, it is one of the reasons. And then he just hangs up because I can't talk about it right now. And he's just that's great acting right there. Just like this subtle breakdown, quietly just bringing himself back together is a very believable performance there, and it worked really well. We see that Beard comes out to talk to him, and like I've said something since the beginning of the show, Beard hasn't done a lot this season. I don't know why that is. He just hasn't been the guy we focused on. But he says to Ted, I'm going to go shake off this loss. I will see you back at the place tomorrow, hopefully. And the information for next week suggests that Beard's going to get his own adventure away from the team, which, interesting. And it makes me wonder, is this going to lead to maybe Beard wanting to leave the team? Maybe. Wouldn't be surprised. But it's a powerful ending, and just having all those stories connect, it really makes it a powerful episode, probably the most powerful of the season and just the most interesting of the season. Just the stuff with Ted revealing that is very powerful. Jamie and Roy connecting in that way is cool. And whether you believe the Sam and Rebecca relationship, it's there for you to see and experience. And it's very interesting to idealize, I guess. It's there. You can check it out and believe it or not. It's something that's happening. Weird, man. Confusing stuff all around. Just confusing stuff, and it's just great. And I think Jason's going to win again. He has to. Like, that alone, just like the saying that on the phone, you're the only person there. It's beautiful, and it's powerful, and he's going to win. Great episode. I don't know how many episodes are left this season because I checked the IMDb, and it says 12. But 10 still seems likely to me, but I don't know why we'd make the penultimate episode a Beard standalone adventure, so maybe it is 12. Either way, this was one of the best episodes by far, probably the best one. It just shows you that sometimes when we do comedy, The drama seeps in. It does something very incredible too. And I just love this show. Ted Lasso continues to be impressive, and this episode continues to be a standout from the rest of these amazing episodes. So thank you guys for watching this review, and be sure to like and subscribe to the channel. As always, you can check me out on Instagram, TikTok, and Twitter, and I will catch you in the next one. Have fun, stay safe, good luck.